Would you like to live a more awesome life? Join hypnotist Jim Kellner as he explores tips, tricks, and strategies to help you and he live a more awesome life right now on Exploring Awesome.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Exploring Awesome. This is episode 100 of Exploring Awesome. Okay, I got to tell you something. To be honest with you, this is not actually episode 100. When I first started the podcast, I was numbering them, and then I kind of forgot where I was at, so I quit numbering them. And so now I'm going to, but then I found that it was tough to tell people, hey, go listen to, episode 59 or whatever, because they weren't numbered. So this will make it easier to track. So if there's at least 100 out there, probably more. So we're going to start this one, episode 100. And for episode 100, I have a very special guest. Every guest is special to me. I met my next guest. Met her quite a long time ago. We worked on a project that she was putting together for hypnotists and coaches and stuff. And it was a joy to be a part of that. She's a hypnotist. She's a NLP practitioner, holistic business coach, which can help you if you're an entrepreneur to really take it to the next level. Everyone, please give it up for my guest, Lydia Kathryn. Hello, Lydia.
I'm going to celebrate over here. Yeah, buddy.
I love it. Hold on. Where's it at?
I feel like
a lot of excited people out there today.
Awesome.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I am fantastic. It's the days kind of blend together, as I'm sure a lot of us can relate to, but it's all good stuff. It's awesome stuff.
I know exactly what you mean. They do. And I've been on the road now for about a week, and I've still got another 2 weeks to go, I think. And boy, I tell you, I have to actually look at my calendar some days just to figure out what day it is. It's so confusing.
I did that. I was like, what are we at? Wednesday, Tuesday? What is it?
Well, it's especially difficult for those of us who we're not going to a 9 to 5. So we're not going, oh, I have to go to work on Monday. And then, oh, yay, it's, Fabulous Friday or whatever. It's like,
they all just I forgot about that. What is it? Thirsty Thursday? Fantastic Friday.
I don't even know. I just made it up. What is it? Thank God I don't know. TGIF, I know. When you're an entrepreneur, every day can be, horrible Monday or horrible or wonderful Friday. Because
it
really the way it goes.
It's what you make of it. I mean, honestly, I think
it really is. It really is. Hey, everybody! I am today. I'm here in Tucson, Arizona. I'm staying at a fabulous hotel. It's funny. Last week I was in a Motel 6. The gig I did was putting me up, and then this week I'm in a fabulous hotel. So if things look a little bit weird, it's because I don't have the right lighting and everything. If you're listening live, please send us a chat. I think we got something in the chat already.
It's Joni.
Oh.
Hey,
Joni, hello. You two just landed in Boston for a team talk. Completely understand the travel. Fantastic. Thank you, Joni.
Love it. Good to hear from you, Joni.
What are you doing out in Boston, Joni? Let us know. Hey, if you're listening, let us know where you're listening from. Whether you're, this podcast, it's really for entrepreneurs and it's for folks that are working regular jobs too. The whole theme here is that I talk with awesome people who are doing awesome things, and then they share their awesome tips for living an awesome life with my awesome audience. So we're going to get to that in just a little bit. Lydia, I wanted to, I was a while back, you had posted some photos and that were really, really striking, the kind of the transformation that you've made in your life. And I know that, it's easy to focus on the physical things that we change in our lives, but I bet there's some mental stuff that happened too. Can you just kind of go back in time and give us like your short bio, your hero's journey?
Yeah, sort of the 30,000 foot overview of Lydia in a nutshell. Yeah, I mean, and I think what you're referring to are the, I guess probably the weight loss transformation. I think, it's interesting when I share these photos now, it's unconscious to me, like people's responses. I'm so sort of numb to it at this point, but I forget that every time I share it, people are like, holy cow.
Right.
They're like, what is this photoshopped? And I forget that there are people who don't believe that this can happen for them.
Right.
And I think those are the people who respond the most. In fact, even at HypnoThoughts, I was having people approach me like, holy cow, like that was such an inspiration. I was like, oh, really? Okay, great. Like, it wasn't, I can't even remember what my intention was with that post, but I'm sure it was to strike up some sort of, insight or conversation or something. So, yeah. So really quickly, overweight kid, comfort food was my thing. We all have a crutch, right? Mine happens to be food. The hardest one I feel like to get rid of, but
I think so. Yeah.
It's a special little beast, and I'm not saying others don't have it hard as well. It's just like, it's hard to have it in your life and not, there's not really this fine line we can draw. So, for me, it's been about just like unraveling all of the need for food, for comfort, for safety, for security, for all these reasons. And, for that reason, I ended up specializing in weight loss as a hypnotist, especially because I knew the mindset games. And then as a former bodybuilder, I knew the metabolism game as well. So I was like, you know what, there's nobody who knows more than me about weight loss. I don't know, like, fight me,
Right. And, hold on a second. I'm trying to, didn't have this set up correctly.
Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Loud and clear.
Okay. It is interesting how, we work with different clients on different things, and even ourselves. And even I struggle with this frequently, having gone from, taking a whole lot of weight off and then kind of creeping back. And then I'm still blaming COVID. For
no, that's a tough battle for everybody, I think.
Far too many pounds. I just wonder, when can we stop blaming COVID? I mean, is there a deadline? Do I have to?
I went into panic mode I gained 5 pounds and took off 16. What happened to me is I saw it happening and I was like, I need help. And I reached out for help. I was like, I have to be financially invested to take this seriously. That's just what I've learned about myself, is if I don't have skin in the game, we ain't doing nothing.
Oh, well, tell us more about that. Was that some sort of a bet, or is that one of those online challenge things?
I hate the word challenge. I feel like I have enough challenges in my life. I don't sign up for challenges.
That's a good point. Yeah, no kidding. That is funny when you say that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Why would you sign up for a challenge?
And maybe it's just me. I never found it appealing. Boot camp challenge. I'm like, I don't want a boot camp. I don't want a challenge. Life is enough of a challenge.
Right. Yeah. No kidding.
Well, I mean, what I meant was, like, if I am not financial, like, where money goes, attention goes. Right. So if I don't have some sort of skin in the game, and what I found is, even more financially than health wise, I mean, unless I have a health scare, I'm not taking this seriously. And so even up till now, like, I've been slowly gaining weight and I'm batting it around in my head. And I'm like, do I really need to bring a coach back? And I was like, you know what? Yeah. In order for me to take this seriously, I have to invest what's valuable to me. And, for a lot of us, if not all of us, it's going to be money.
That's awesome. And I want to say, I love this, Joni. She's going to watch it later when she's headed back to Northeastern University.
Bye,
and
Joni.
I love what you're doing. Thank you, Joni. We love what you're doing as well. Hey, if you're out there, will you just let us know where you're listening from? Love to hear that. We're also going to be taking your questions, your comments, your concerns. And if you're brave, I can even bring you on the podcast with us. You ask your questions, give your comments, and just let me know. I will be happy to do that. I forgot how to do it now. Anyway, I can. Hold on. If you're over on Facebook, depends on where you're. No, actually, this will go out to all of them. I'm going to put the link in there. Don't be a weirdo. If you're a weirdo, I'm going to cut you right away. Okay? Unless you're a cool weirdo. Lydia, I'm sorry we got off track there a little bit. I agree. And one of the things that I find, and I know that you're a business coach, so you help people go to the next level in their entrepreneurial stuff. And I'm guessing it's all entrepreneurs, or are you really just helping hypnotists and NLP and coaches?
I was working with coaches and I eventually kind of phased them out because it's a different language. Hypnotists and holistic practitioners, we speak differently, we kind of feel differently, we operate differently. And again, the language is different. And so I actually stopped working with coaches and now just fully invest my time with hypnotists and holistic practitioners. And, it doesn't matter if you're a psychic or medium or even a tarot reader, like it's the same process system to scale your business, really, honestly, no matter who you work with. It's the same steps you need to take.
Same steps, right. But you would agree that hypnotists really are the best that you've worked with, the most bestest of all, right?
The reason I really have a soft spot for sorry, I don't know if I'm talking over you. It's freezing a little bit.
I was hypnotizing you to say it. Yes, hypnotists are the best. No, go ahead.
They are the best. Yeah. One of the most common questions I get asked is like, how did you get into doing this? Like, why did you move away from just doing hypnosis itself? And, I sort of had this epiphany moment walking around HypnoThoughts last year. And by this time, I had already scaled my practice to already over 6 figures. And I just remember walking around and I was talking to people and I was just kind of telling them this casually. Like, I was just like, yeah, my practice is going well. I did this. And their mouths would drop open. Their eyes became like the size of dinner plates. And it just clicked. I was like, oh my God, like hypnotists have no idea how to run a business.
I find the same, it's true for like so many entrepreneurs, most of us didn't go into hypnosis because we wanted to be good marketers, right? Or good salespeople. We went into it because we wanted to, do hypnosis or coaching or NLP or tarot reading, that kind of stuff. So it makes a lot of sense why they have so much trouble. And, I've found that, we run into so many, I'm just going to speak for hypnotists, as those are people I know the most, but so many out there that they can't even make a living doing this. And so it's really tough for them to get better because they're not even seeing enough clients to get better. And so, if somebody came to you and they were like, hey, I really need to, whatever business it is, what are maybe the first couple of things that you'd recommend that they do? I mean, call you, of course, and then
make it easier on yourself. Sure. Why not?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
The most common thing, the most common problem I find, honestly, is like, it's like a volume thing. They're just not having enough conversations, whether it's just they don't have enough traffic on their website or they're just not having enough, they're not doing enough networking. I mean, the strategy, honestly, is kind of irrelevant. It's just, there's just not enough volume. And so what I found is really social media has made it easy to get more volume versus just sending like paid ads to a website, ads to a website, ads to a website. Because I did that for several years, and it'll bring you clients, but it also ate away my profit margins like crazy. And so I had to get a little smart there. And, I ended up getting fired from my job, which catapulted me into my awesome life.
Yes.
I was like many other hypnotists, I was clinging to this life raft and knew it wasn't what I wanted, but I was netting 6,000 after taxes each and every month. It was like beautiful. But, after running my own business and making in 1 month what I would typically make in 4 months at my government job, I now see how much I was not being paid as a government employee.
Yeah. It's great you say that, because I saw Steve Harvey a while back, who's really done a great job transitioning from being a comedian to also now kind of a motivational kind of a guy. I mean, still does both, which I'm in kind of awe of, because that's a difficult thing because people want to pigeonhole you. But I saw him on a thing recently. He said, you got to jump. You got to make the leap. If you want to be successful in that thing that you want, you got to make the leap. And so for some people, they make the leap, willingly, and some people are pushed. I know Victoria Gallagher has a similar story where you get pushed into it. So that must have been terrifying at first.
It was weird. It was, again, the unconscious conscious thing. It's like my unconscious was like, hey, it's time, right? It's that little whisper, like, it's time for you. And then my conscious mind's like, ah! Like, get a job, get a job, get a job, get a job. And, what gave me the most confidence? And it's honestly, I think it's because of this, I was really confident to make the decision, was all of my non-entrepreneurial connections, family, 9-to-5 friends, all felt sorry for me. all of my entrepreneurial friends said, congratulations, it's time.
Of course.
Like, right. There it is.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You know, I had a question for you. Sorry. Or some, oh no, that's something I was going to say. Well, I do want to come back to this too, but I wanted to just say, you know, I find it striking how many hypnotists that I meet that are just like, I don't do social media. I don't want to put myself out there, or I don't want them getting my personal information and just all these different reasons why they're not doing social media. I mean, what would you say to them? They're crazy?
BS. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Because always when I have these conversations, look, guys, let's be honest here. You want to put yourselves out there. You want to make an impact. I felt the same. I was feeding myself all this BS. Well, I don't want to. Yes, you do. The first step is to admitting it. And then you can work with the fears. Like, allow the fears. Like, be a sponge. Like, but be honest with yourself. Really, you don't want to make an impact. Come on now.
That's what I got. I mean, that's such a great point. I love that. I'm going to start using that. Admit it. Just admit it. Because I mean, you're right. That's why we get into this. We want to make an impact, and how do we make the biggest impact possible? We got to talk to as many people as possible, right?
You know, one thing that I feel like is missing for that group, and it was missing for me too, I am no exception to this, is this sort of the art of negotiating with ourselves. Like, look, okay, I admit I don't want this, but I admit I want this. Like, are you part of the dialogue in your head, or is the chit chatter just running you all around the park, 20 times? Yeah. So are you an active participant in the conversation of that little person, the little child in your mind who's like, stay safe? Or are you like calming that side down? Look, little Lydia, little Jim, little, Rebecca, whatever. Like, look, I know what you really want. And I know you want people to know who you are so you can help them. I mean, that's what I was telling myself anyway.
That is just so true. And I'm glad you put it that way. Just admit it. One of the things that helped me to switch the way that I was going about it was, and it really is, I mean, I've loved this quote forever. It's Zig Ziglar, you can have everything that you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And when I switched my focus to how may I serve, that's what Wayne Dyer said, how may I serve, then it became much more about, like, it's selfish of me not to share what I do, what I can do for people, or even just helpful tips and things like that.
I mean, you guys, life isn't random. Like, I mean, I don't even feel like it's like you're the chosen. It's like, have you realized that like you have something and you can help so many people? Like it is. I mean, I don't like making the word selfish like a bad connotation, because we're all inherently selfish. So it's not. Sure. I don't know if it's so much that, but it's like your due diligence. Like I cannot stand sitting by watching people kick themselves and not getting what they want when I know I can help them. So at least put a hand out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, such a great point. I love that. So. And how long ago was this that you made that leap, or were pushed onto the ledge, pushed off the ledge?
It's funny. Almost exactly a year ago today. It was literally 4 days. Like 4 days.
That's awesome. Happy anniversry. Congratulations.
Yeah. Yep. It's hard to believe I did not see this happening. And it was, and I'm not here to lie. It was a questionable first few months there. It was a very questionable, rocky, just trying to get everything stable. So it's not easy, but I think your unconscious knows, your conscious mind knows when it's time.
Yeah. And for me, it was an uncomfortable few years, and many years, really. And this is what I tell people: the secret to my success is I just didn't quit. That's all. Just didn't quit. Even when I should have, probably. People were telling me to. I just kept going. I don't stop. Whatever.
You can't fail if you do that.
Exactly. I mean, you really can't. I mean, so I mean, if that's your struggle out there, if you're struggling and stuff, please just just keep going. You know what? It does get better. I know it's kind of a lame cliche, but honestly, it really does. Hey, I want to let everybody know who I'm talking to today. It's Lydia Kathryn. Actually, I would love it if you would say your last name for us.
I'll say it once, so memorize it. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Mihaletziano. It's 6 syllables, 14 letters. Impossible.
Yeah, I never would have guessed that. So I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, people make it as far as
Michael dos Santos.
Yeah, that's right.
That explains why you go by Lydia Kathryn.
Well, I bought LydiaMihaletziano.com, and after I bought it, then I saw the problem.
Yes.
Nobody's typing that in.
Nobody's typing that in. That's funny. So, hey, can you tell us what kind of work you were doing before this happened?
Yeah, I was a website developer for 12 years, and it's what I went to school for, So it wasn't, a lot of people, consider things like that a waste of time. I mean, it wasn't a waste of time. It paid my bills. I thought of my employers as they were my investors, my employer were my investors into my business. That's the way I thought about it, because I had to put a positive reframe on it, or else it was going to drive me crazy. I was rolling my eyes at this job. I hated it. Like I was screwing around, and I had the right people in my life to remind me, like, hey, Lydia, look, these are your corporate investors. They are paying your bills right now. They are funding your dreams. So stop screwing around. Get it together, get your exit plan together, and you'll know when it's time. And so I was like, you know what, it's irresponsible of me to just, even during COVID, to not do the work that I was hired to do. I sort of put myself in the business's position. And so, but it got to the point where it was impossible to run both at the same time. It was just impossible. And I think, I got fired during COVID, like a lot of people, but I think for me, it was not really COVID. I think they felt that my heart wasn't in it anymore. And they deserve someone who cares more than I do at that point. So I was like, good for you. Like I would have fired myself too.
Right. So tell me about this.
They gave me a nice parting gift of a MacBook Air. That was very nice.
Well, that's a pretty nice parting gift. Excellent.
Yeah. So thank you, investors.
Thank you, investors. What a great reframe. I love that. I'm reminded of, and I don't think this is true all the time, but I do think it's true often. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And so if you're kind of sloppy and haphazard at your day job, then that's probably seeping into other areas of your life. And so I can definitely, and like I said, I mean, sometimes a job is just crummy and it's crappy. And I mean, it's hard to be really invested. But I do think that if you have a crummy, lousy job, and like not yours was probably not crummy and lousy, you just weren't into it. But like, say, for instance, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to offend anybody, but if you're working like a low wage menial type job, I think that the way you're going to get out of that job is to do your very best at that job, even though I've been in those kind of jobs and it sucks to try to go above and beyond. It really does.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's what makes you think that when you leave, like working at McDonald's for yourself, you got to be a different person to run a business. If you don't have respect for yourself and others, it's going to carry over with your clients. And that's the last thing you want to do when you run a business is not have that kind of quality between you and your clients. It's number one, so something to think about.
And it's a lot easier, obviously, like to give it your all when it is your business. But like the way you're talking, it was your business anyway, sort of. They were just your investors. And I mean, maybe you take that home with you, folks. Maybe you take that with you, that, whether you're working at McDonald's or you're working at just some great job that you just ate because it's been too long or it's not your true calling, shift it around, make it it's your investors and they're investing in you. Because a lot of these things too, you're learning, if you get really good at something, it builds that discipline, that motivation, all those kind of things that are going to really help you. Because, being an entrepreneur it's no easy ride either. It really isn't.
Oh man. I was like, do we have another 3 hours to talk about that?
Right.
It is, I saw a meme, Jim, like a few weeks ago, and the top part was like, starting a business, yay! Running a business, like,
right.
backing up.
And really, I wasn't prepared to run a business. I mean, really, I was not prepared. I really thought I was working at a clinic, and I was one of the best there. Really, I mean, I won't say I was one of the best. I was one of the most requested. And so, and when I thought, wow, it's going to be easy because I'm this awesome hypnotist. People are going to be running to me, and nobody was running.
Oh, that's a fun way to call. I had that one too.
Yeah.
Look at me with my certifications, and
right.
everybody let the floodgates open, and crickets. Oh. But it's not you. It's not you, folks. It's your strategy. So don't take it personally.
Exactly. Don't take it personally. I mean, hey, if nobody knows about you, they can't call you anyway. So that's one of the hardest things that I deal with when I'm working with like, because I teach some classes and some workshops and stuff to get people to launch their hypnosis careers. And I got to tell you that just sort of that being invisible, and just, one of the things that I love too is when they tell me, well, my goal is to have 100% referral business. I'm like, that's cute. Mine too. And someday that will come, perhaps, but you're not coming out of hypnosis school with all referrals, right?
I would say the majority of the hypnotists who come to me who are struggling they're exactly right there, 100% referral. And I was like, oh, well, that's a bit unstable.
Right.
Okay.
and how's that working for you? Well, I had 2 clients last month, but they were both referrals. No, it takes a lot. I mean, number one, we're in a profession where nobody wants to admit they used hypnosis, right? Unless you're a smoker. Smokers love to tell how they quit, but most people, nobody wants to tell you how they lost the weight or how they got over their anxiety or their sleep problem or whatever. So and this to have them to go to that extra step. I mean, trying to even get a rating out of people, just, hey, would you please give me a rating? Could you come Google my business and give me a, review? And it's just so challenging.
Yeah. I mean, you said something earlier and it just like escaped me. Oh yeah. The invisible thing, honestly, guys, social media, the internet is so saturated, and I know it's exciting to like want that floodgates to open. And I am going to tell you, it is work to get yourself out there. But once you do, then the floodgates, when you start doing the consistency, when you start just doing the things, just doing them, not even perfect, just doing them and being consistent. And really, I think what most hypnotists are lacking is just really the know, like, and trust with the people they want to serve. Again, the knowing, the absence, not knowing you're, existing, and the trust. Are you being consistent? It's like dating, right? Like if you show up one week, you disappear for another week, everyone's gonna be like, is this just a slow, like a fad or like a scam? What is this? It's the long game. We got to play the long game.
Before we go on, I want to just remind everybody you're listening and or watching to Exploring Awesome. My host today is Lydia Kathryn Mekamekas.
That's right.
I said her last name perfectly, and we're talking a lot of cool stuff. We're helping. She helps entrepreneurs, specifically hypnotists, NLP practitioners, holistic practitioners, to take their business to the next level, even if that's just one little step. And then moving on to the next one to make some money doing this. One of the things too, I just want to say it's okay to make money doing this, because if you have to go back to your old job, you're not going to be able to serve as many people. So don't feel like it's icky to make money doing this. You should be making money so you can keep doing this. Otherwise, you can't. Yeah. But I want to remind you that coming up, we have listener questions, and we also have, of course, Lydia's 3 tips for living a more awesome life, and then we'll be playing everyone's favorite game, friend or frenemy. I don't know how Lydia's going to answer the question, so I don't know if right now we are currently friends or frenemies. She knows, but she's not telling me. It's a big secret, everybody. Hey, if you're watching right now, if you're watching live, please drop us a message. Let us know you're listening. Happy to take your questions. And then if you listen later, do that as well. I do want to call your attention to one thing. So Lydia has a Facebook group. Well, she will help you. She's got a free mini course that you can get by just following the link down in the description. Do you want to tell people about that?
Yeah, this mini course is just a 5 or 6 part video series, and it really is just like a 30,000 foot overview of really where the heck I've come from, from no business to starting a hypnosis business, trying to get it off the ground, the most common mistakes, pitfalls that hypnotists and holistic practitioners fall into. I think it's been a while since I looked at it, but I think there is some strategy call tips in there, how to handle strategy calls, build more authority on strategy calls, things like that. So really, honestly, this is probably going to answer your questions as to why am I not scaling as fast as I want? Again, a lot of little holes I kind of filled in for you guys. So it doesn't have to take you 7 years to do this, to scale it and go full time,
And I mean, you did. I mean, you scaled quickly. That's pretty rare. I do want to say something you were talking about when you said the like, know, and trust. I have had, one of the things that I hear from hypnotists and just other people that I talk to that are in this, they'll say, "Oh, I don't like to make videos. I don't like the way I look on video." There are days I don't like the way I look on video either. I don't always feel pretty, but I'll tell you what. I have so many people that when I talk to them and we start talking, doing a consultation, they go, "Well, I've watched all your videos. I feel like I know you." And that's exactly it. Like, know, and trust. It's absolutely essential. I also noticed this, Lydia, when I was looking, and I just noticed this last week, as I was looking through the catalog I'm going to the Michigan Hypnosis Conference next week, and I was thinking about, having been to other conferences, and I was thinking about the classes that I take, even just the classes I take, almost every single time it's somebody that I've seen on social media, like in the group, or I've heard about them, or somewhere on the internet. I mean, I've gotten to at least see their face or see some words that they've talked about. It's like, otherwise it's just like this cold choice, and I'm like, I don't really know. I don't know anything about this person. You know what I mean? Do you find that too?
Yeah, I mean, going back to what you were saying about you judging yourself. Look, I mean, first of all, your business is not even about you. If you're at the point where you're judging yourself so much that you're not putting yourself out there because you don't like the way you sound, your focus is entirely on the wrong place. Your focus should be on fulfillment, connection. Can you help? That will all go away when you're shift your focus to what's in front of you versus all on you, and block your yourself.
There you go. Gotcha.
See yourself. I do it too. I'll be looking up at myself. It'll just get my attention. So I'll block it or do something like that because that call isn't about me.
Yeah. That's so true. It's not about you. It's about them, helping them to get to their goal. And it's so absolutely critical. Lydia, what have we not talked about yet that is important that you'd like to talk about?
Not talked about yet that's important. I think kind of touching, I want to share an epiphany I had. So I find that, the one thing I was running away from all of these years that kept me from really going all in, and then really kept me running both jobs on at the same time, was honestly, a lot of people complain about this fear of the pressure. Have you heard this, Jim, from maybe some classmates from classes you've taught? There's this fear of pressure, when you start to work for yourself, there's this I don't want to take on that pressure, all that, the fear and things like that. And honestly, this is the exact thing, guys, that is going to be the catalyst for you to take off. This feeling you're running away from because you would rather be tranquilized by, a boring job or something unfulfilling. I realized this feeling is the exact leading indicator that means you're moving towards your goals. So that one thing you're avoiding is the one thing that's going to drive you to insane levels, and is the reason why people do who do.
That's such a great point, and I think you're right. I mean, as long as you can be comfortable working that job, because we're so much. It's so hard when you're comfortable and you've got the bills are paid, and things aren't that bad. You know, it's that, I can't remember who's it. Tony Robbins says something about this. It's that zone. You're in a zone that's sort of, it's okay. I can't remember what he calls it, but that's the deathly zone, because, you know, if things are really bad, then of course you want to change things. But if you're in this zone where, you know, it's sort of comfort, I maybe he calls it the comfort zone. Actually, that's probably what he calls it. You know, if you're in the comfort zone and yeah, I'd really like to go do this thing, but you know, I got to pay the mortgage, I got to pay the bills and all this stuff. And people, there's the other one, you know, what are my friends going to think? What are my family going to think? I think it just makes it so much more difficult.
Honestly, guys, and trust me, you're not alone. My family did not know I had a hypnosis business for 2.5 years because I had a personal training business before that crumbled because of the negativity. And my bless my mom, you know, she did the best she could, but still just the mind games, and my business crumbled. And so I said, nobody's going to know about this till it's working and there's no turning back. And 2.5 years later, I was like, oh yeah, by the way, been running this thing on the other side. And it's just, you know what? Protect your dreams. Protect them.
Yes.
Hide
you know, I absolutely. And you know, I remember I was coaching a hypnotist who wanted to launch their business, and I remember that was his thing, was like, well, I don't want any of my family or friends to know what I'm doing. So
I don't blame them.
I mean, the whole most of my strategy has not been like, you know, emailing and stuff. It's been being active on social media. I'm like, that's really the best way. And if you don't have people on Facebook or LinkedIn or anything knowing about what you're doing, it's going to be a lot tougher for you. That's all. A lot tougher.
Yeah. And you got to go down the convincing route more. It's like, you know, being present, putting yourself out there, talking, establishing yourself as an expert. Just by doing that alone, just eliminates objections just like that. Half the objections you're dealing with on calls can be eliminated just by just putting yourself out there and just talking, just not selling, but just talking.
Great point. Everybody, it's just about time. We're going to find out. The top 3 things that Lydia would recommend for you to live a more awesome life, and me. I love hearing the awesome tips. We're going to take listener questions. If you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to just bring up some ones that I've gotten recently. And then also friend or frenemy. We're not going to forget about friend or frenemy coming up as well. Lydia, have you received any questions recently about hypnosis or anything like that? Questions that you'd like to answer? Listener questions type things.
Like from clients or?
Oh, you know, sometimes people ask them on a Facebook post or on a YouTube video, or just common questions that you might get. Anything like that? Would you like to answer?
How about like, does it work?
Oh my goodness.
Does it work?
That is like go ahead, answer, please. Does it, Lydia, hypnosis, does that really work?
So when I had my office in Falls Church, I was like walking outside to go get coffee or something from the 7-Eleven next door. And I forget how this guy walked by and he's like, oh, what do you do or something? And I was like, oh, I'm a hypnotist. And he's just like, oh, does it work? And I was like, I wouldn't be in business if it didn't.
Right.
What do you think? I just scam people 24 hours a day and I just churn and burn like the lies.
You know, I always think like, does anybody go up to a dentist and go, hey, does that dentistry thing, does that work? Does that really work? Is that go up to a doctor? Hey, that doctor work that you do, does that really work? It's such a ridiculous question. And I think part of the problem is that, and if you're listening out there, and believe me, I always want to preface this part by saying that I love the people that do the different kinds of work in our profession. The more esoteric work, good for them. It's not my thing, but good for them. But I do think that sometimes that's one of the reasons. Well, because like somebody asked me recently, they said, do you, how'd they phrase it? What does past life regression have to do with hypnosis? And I was like, well, it doesn't have to have anything to do with it. So people get these ideas that, that you have to have crystals or gemstones, or you have to do chanting and things like, or just all these different esoteric things. And again, I'm not that, hey, if that's your thing, great. And go to that person that does that. But they're not, hypnosis is just a tool, and we use it in a lot of different ways. So, and I think also the fact that we end up, the comedy hypnosis shows, which I do, it also helps to make it seem more fanciful, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm like, my personality type is straight to the point, transparent. Like, let's just cut out the BS and smoke screens. And, I actually educate my clients on like this. I'm like, look, we can do the countdown. We can close your eyes and do this. Honestly, you don't need it. What I plan to do with you is more of like Igor Lidahowski's work, which is just, systematizing the conversational part of it. And so I'm just like, I just straight shoot through conversational hypnosis. And I mean, I'll use progressive relaxation and all that, the formal fancy stuff for like more like anxiety or sleeping issues. But really what I find is, look, these people are already in a trance. You got to first bring them out of a trance before you can even put them back in it. They're already in a trance. They're already in hypnosis. It's our job to bring them out of hypnosis. I feel like not to put them in hypnosis.
It's true. I heard that phrase. What's that?
Emerge them first.
Right, exactly. Emerge them first. I would always hear that, and I never really got that. I was like, what does that mean? And then Tom Silver explained it. Tom Silver said, have you ever taken your keys and put them somewhere and you forgot where they were? And I'm like, well, yeah, of course. He goes, well, that's because you were in a trance, so you didn't remember where you had put them. And so when we bring you out of that trance, then we can start making some changes. I mean, we're all going through life. How often do you if I walk out to the car to go to the store, is my mind really mindful on every single step I'm taking? Am I looking around, or am I kind of thinking about that thing that I'm going to get at the store, or the podcast I'm listening to? We're all over the place, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this impacts business in a big way too. Like, I know a lot of people, including myself, like, we've been taught to feel shame and guilt, right? Like, so I'll subconsciously slip into what I'm going to quote my friend Alessia here, but she calls them shame attacks. Like, I'll just slip into a shame attack you'll be triggered by a friend or family. And you can even spend days there. And this is why actually your income in your business fluctuates a lot. It's because your emotions fluctuate. And when your emotions fluctuate, your results fluctuate, including your income. And that's what I have found to be the biggest thing that impacted consistency in my business as a hypnotist or a holistic business coach. Was just like my emotional state was doing this, so my income was doing this.
I get that. I do. And I see that all the time. Like when I, sometimes I'll be in a mood where I don't even know if I'm in a bad mood or a depressed mood, but it's I'm very much an introvert, and sometimes I just don't want to be out there. And so I've noticed that. So I maybe I don't make a video, or I don't put up a post or something. And then also there is this thing, when you're an entrepreneur, you have a lot of freedom, and there's nobody but you telling you you've got to start work at 10 a.m. or whatever time. And so it can be challenging, definitely.
Yeah. Honestly, I've just been using self-hypnosis to do a lot of this. Just you guys know, you guys are hypnotists. You guys know how to do this. Just do self-hypnosis. It was just like a dialogue in my head. It's like, negotiating with myself, right? Like being an active participant, like, cause I like to sleep in. That's just the way I've grown up. I hate mornings. So my thing is I sleep till like 9, and I stay up till, and I work and take breaks till about 1 a.m. And that's just how I roll, And I mean, it's just no amount of conversations or prescription drugs or hypnosis is going to make me want to get up early. It's just not a goal of mine. And so it took a lot of testing and maneuvering to figure out, like, is this going to work out in the morning or later? Or do you figure out, like, what time do I stop? What time do I start? Doing all that. But like, you'll figure it out. You will not know unless you put yourself through it and you let yourself figure it out. It's a brand new way of thinking, but honestly, being your own boss, it is intimidating at first, I think, just because you haven't done it. But once you start doing it, you're going to find really what works best for you specifically, not your coach, not your friends, not your other entrepreneur people, but what is going to help you, create a balanced life for yourself. So I'm certainly happy waking up at 9, staying up till 1.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's the great thing about it. There's nobody telling you have to be somewhere. So, but on the other hand, I mean, you could, and I think one of the things one of the mistakes I made when I first started was, well, if I don't have any clients today, I don't have a show today, I guess I just kind of wait and maybe I do this or that. But I watched a great video, and I think this is so important. If you're out there listening, this is so important. If you're trying to launch your hypnosis career, what she said, back then there was no, I think Jason had just, the Work Smart Hypnosis podcast was pretty new back then. And there was nothing else for hypnotists that I could find on marketing or how to do a business. And I was watching all these videos for chiropractors and stuff. And what the lady said was, decide how many clients you want a week. Say it's 20. And for every hour you don't have a client, you're spending that time on marketing. And that helped me so much, whether it's writing a blog or going on social media, making videos, whatever. I found that really super helpful. So I wasn't just sitting around just waiting.
yeah, I think, Jim, we had this conversation during my summit when I
did
interviewed
we? Oh, yeah. Okay.
along the lines, a wake-up call I had, and from my coach was like, Lydia, yeah, same thing. Like, if you're like, now what you're doing during the day is conversations. That's it.
Yeah.
They're like, you are a full-time appointment setter and a closer from here on out. Until you hire someone. I was like, first of all, that makes a lot of sense. Second of all, like, I had to make some quick rearrangements. That means no more screwing around, going to the gym, and like in the middle of the day, going to the store, I was cleaning around, like, now I'm at my, I'm sure a lot of us are doing this, right? And so now I am at my computer, like, I start calls and outreach at 10 and stop at 6, but that's all like, graphics, videos, posts, all that's being done after hours. And I think a lot of hypnotists don't really get to their goal because they're not made aware of this. So like, I don't care what people say. You have to learn how to sell. If you want to run a business,
absolutely.
Don't let anyone tell you, because this is, learn to sell without selling. Like, well, you're still selling. Come on.
All these people that go, I don't sell. I just present it to them. And if they want to, whatever. Look, that's what a consultation call is. And look, you don't have to feel bad about it. There's nothing wrong with it. You know what? When I bought my car, the person selling it to me, I was delighted because I got what I wanted at a fair price. So if you're giving people what they want at a price that they can afford or that they're willing to pay, then why is that have this icky connotation to it? I don't understand why we do that to ourselves.
I think it's just we're taught to do it in the old ways, which is like 90s, early 2000s, which is corner them with, well, what's going to happen if you don't?
Yeah.
Like,
exactly.
Well, you kind of got to
go on that route.
And it kind of goes back to that pressure thing. People are like, well, I don't want to make decisions out of pressure. Well, then what the heck are you going to do then? Because pressure, you avoiding the pressure is the reason you're not losing the weight. You're still having panic attacks. You are not able to have a mutual deep connection with your partner. Like, then what are you doing by avoiding this? Because maybe this internal pressure is the pressure of your life and your situation, not me selling you. And that's the reframe I give people. Hypnotists come to me and they're like, I don't want to, the pressure, blah, blah, blah. And you can't pressure me. I'm like, look, the pressure is your pressure. I cannot put pressure inside of you, And when you can reframe that in a positive way, and you can do that for your customers and clients, that's where the magic happens and the doors open. And again, it's your due diligence to do this for them, not to sell them, to coach them on their decisions.
Yeah. You've mentioned a couple times working with coaches, and this is the other thing that I find with, I think just maybe new business owners in general, but definitely with hypnotists, they don't want to spend any money on anything. They want to do everything themselves. Like my life transformed when I decided to finally upgrade to the Canva and just pay for it and not do the free version anymore. Just little things like that. Because it's not that. I mean, I can easily work around it, but it's a hassle. And you know what? If it costs me $13 a month not to have that hassle, it's worth it. If I can work with a coach and they're going to get me to the next level faster, or maybe prevent me from having to go back to my old job or going back to a job, is it worth it? I see so many times people trying to cut corners. Where do I get the free music? Where do I get the free images? All this. Stop worrying about free and pay some damn money, because that's what businesses do. That's what IBM does. That's what Starbucks does. That's all successful businesses. So I'm getting excited here. They have to spend money. They have to spend money. You can't do this. And also it's, this is one of the things too, like when I see people trying to get, and believe me, I get plenty of free graphics, but from places where they're free. But if you're trying to use stuff, why shouldn't that, you want people to pay you for your work? Why are you trying to get work out of other people for free? It doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm here to I get it. Like I have 18,000 subscriptions. My subscriptions cost me up about 4,000 a month at this point. And they're not even, it's not even really high. It's my highest one is probably my SMS, which is about 400 a month, but everything else is like $9, $18, like here and there. Yeah. But what I ask myself and what you guys can ask yourself is like, what's going to happen the minute you put that money in? Because that's exactly what needs to happen. Your attitude's going to change. Your actions are going to change. Your commitment's going to change. And my coach, re-enrolled me at, a nice 18 grand, boom, right there with my coach, all because he reframed it. He was like, look, when you re-sign here, when you it's not a commitment to me. It's not a commitment to the program. It's a recommitment to yourself.
Exactly.
That
Absolutely,
you're going to be there. And I was like, here's my debit card. Like, that's
there you
it.
go.
I wasn't committed. I got comfortable.
Yeah.
I hit my biggest month in August. I started chilling. And right when I put that in, I was like, oh, I needed this feeling to get to 40, 50, 60,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah.
You mentioned that too. I love that, you work from those certain hours and stuff. And what I try to remind myself, if you don't work your business like you work a job, you'll have a job again. That's the way it's going to be.
Wow.
So, and so I remind myself of that, it's easy. I'm in a hotel. I could go out to the pool and I'm like, no, I got work to do. I got to work on some stuff. I will go to the pool later. Don't get me wrong. The other thing too, something else that helped me, and this is the way I started looking at things was, Starbucks doesn't open when they feel like it. They have set hours. They've determined when they want to, and you can set your own hours. I mean, that's one of the great things for the most part. I mean, you got to be available when people want you, but they have it's systemized. This is what happens on this day we clean, or this day we do this, and we open at a certain time, whether you feel like it or not. And I think that really helps a lot too, because we just, as an entrepreneur, you have all that freedom, but that can be a bad thing.
Yeah, honestly, you'll see it in your results. Like if you are, and I know this might be a little advanced for maybe some of the beginner hypnotists, but when you start tracking like your KPIs and you start looking at your numbers, right? And I don't mean just your income, but like the amount of calls you've made, the amount of outreach, the amount of conversations, the amount of sales you closed, the amount of cash you brought. Like at this point, I'm tracking all of this. And now I would be panicked if I wasn't. Now, I'm not saying you have to do this, right? But what is affecting all of these numbers is, again, your consistency. So if you're starting at, like I said, my income was so low because I was like screwing around during the day. I was like, and I'm going back and I'm trying to think why I was doing that. I mean, I thought, I'm sure a lot of it was like confidence in the system, not having enough skin in the game was an issue. And again, I wasn't financially invested enough. When I lost my job, I invested $6,000 into a program, got that back, got comfortable. And so I went in another 18 grand and boom, that fire was there again. Then I hit another high month. Then I chilled again. Right. And then another 18 grand. Like you start to actually use this as momentum, like as the investment becomes again, a leading indicator. That pressure becomes a leading indicator that you're going towards your goals. That's really all it is. And if you're not moving, drop some money in there, because I guarantee, and drop enough so that your actions are going to change. That's really same thing with weight loss. I was gaining weight. I'm like, how much money do I need to put in for my unconscious to feel the urgency and plunge it down? It's really a value exchange at the end of the day.
Yeah, such a good point. And I think it was Jim Lutz that said to me one time, he goes, the problem is, if you start a restaurant, you invest a lot of money. So you got a lot of skin in the game. To be a hypnotist, especially if you're just doing online work, man, you can buy with even Zoom for free. So, I mean, you can literally start up with $100 or something, which is a great thing, but also it's a bad thing because you have no skin in the game. You don't have that. You're not looking ahead going, wow, I got to make the lease payment, and so many other businesses. And even if you had to rent an office, I mean, you can rent an office fairly cheap. So, we're talking about when you actually start up, you start up a grocery store or something else, coffee shop or whatever, there's a big investment. So you definitely have skin in the game. And for us, a lot of times we just don't have that skin in the game.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I think a lot of us use our job as a crutch, our spouses as a crutch. And it doesn't, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but what I see is when there is this like dependency on a job or on a spouse, you're just not going to move. And it doesn't mean you have to leave your spouse, right? It just means that like you kind of have to reframe it in your head. Like if something was to happen, right? Like I want to make sure that I can be okay on my own. Like you have that financial independence or that line of responsibility drawn, not because you can't share a bank account with your spouse, but it's so like you are completely independent for yourself and you're not in a place where now you're using them as a crutch. I think that's where it becomes a problem, is when we're crutching on the job and there's not enough skin in the game. And for me, at least when I had my full-time job and I was running my hypnosis business, I had enough skin in the game to bring back a certain amount, pay for the office, the applications I was using, things like that. But, I think we have to realize it's not just about just covering the bases at some point too, and wanting more than just covering the bases, wanting more than just being able to pay bills. And that was the mindset I had to get over too, because I was paying bills on my own, but I was frustrated at the same time. And I had to admit that to myself, that this wasn't enough and I wanted more than I needed. And that's when I had my biggest month in August, when I was unwilling to accept the bare minimum from myself anymore.
Well, and you're no longer having the bare minimum impact either. So the more, it really is, it almost, it works out almost perfectly. The more impact you make, the more money you're going to make. And so vice versa, the more money you make, that's more impact that I'm making in people's lives. So
absolutely.
So important. All right. So here we are. We are to Lydia Kathryn's top 3 tips for living a more awesome life. Hit us with them.
Let's go. All right. So my first one is one of my favorites, which is, we kind of just talked about this, but roll the dice.
Roll the dice. Roll
the dice. Let's gamble. Don't be afraid to gamble with your money. I say, don't gamble with your life. Let's not gamble with our lives.
Right.
You will never see me skydive. But
I've done it twice, never again.
I will never dive with sharks. I am not that person.
Same.
I'm like, I don't know.
Same issue. We're both getting. That's all I get is like sharks and cats. It's both awesome and scary.
Yeah, I noticed that like 2 days ago, and there's something I find fascinating about sharks. I've always found them like their sort of attitude and how to, your people's attitude towards them. I found it always very fascinating. But yeah, roll the dice with your money, guys. Come on, money not on me. I'm not saying on me. I don't care. On another coach, on your business, on a convention, whatever it is you want to do. But like, you get money back. You don't get back time.
And you're going to lose money. All businesses lose money. They all do. Every single business. We're talking, McDonald's or a company like that will lose millions of dollars on a failed ad campaign. That's another one of the areas that I see people they're so afraid to lose some money, and I'm invested a whole lot into this app, and I'm like, man, I may have to walk away from it, but I had to spend that money to know where I have to go to next. You're going to lose money. Just get over that. I love that. That's roll the dice. Roll the dice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not your life. Unless you want to. Again, I'm a different type of investor here. But that's my first one. Just roll the dice. Roll the dice. With that, spend your money on whatever it is you want to do. It doesn't even have to be a business. Go get that house you want. Go, start that family. Go start that project. Whatever it is you want to do.
Absolutely.
Second one is, I wrote them down here actually. I love this one too. Explore more inside of yourself as much as you do outside.
Oh, okay.
Meaning like I can't spend enough time by myself. I mean, I don't know if I'm speaking introvert language. I almost dread people coming with me on vacation sometimes.
I'll tell my wife, but oh my God. Okay, she never watches the podcast, but I'll tell you, I'm here 5 days by myself. I'm loving every minute of it.
And it's nothing personal. It's just like I have such a deep connection to myself. I can hear myself talk. I can feel what I really want. You know, I can internally process stuff, and there's not enough time for me to do that. So I would say take that journey inside of yourself, if not more than the journey outside, because I think we all want to journey and get the family and the car and the business and the money and all of that's nice, but it makes no sense if like you're not doing it with someone and including yourself. Like, don't forget yourself in there. You know, having that connection with yourself.
So important. Good stuff. And I want to be respectful of your time. We're at an hour now. Are we okay? You a few more minutes?
Actually, let me double check. I think so.
Went by quickly.
I have a session here in a few minutes.
Okay. All right. So you do your third one.
Third one is, I think I talked about this earlier, but invest in your goals. Like, put money into your goals so that you're using that pressure as motivation. It'll become a natural desire for you when you do this. You won't need to pump yourself up or watch a Tony Robbins video. It'll just be the natural desire that's coming out of you now. And really, again, where money goes, attention goes. It's just what happens. And keep that in mind when you're enrolling clients as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point. Very good point. So we had 3 great ones. Roll the dice, spend your money, explore more of your inside. I am a big fan of that. And invest in your goals. Whether you're a business owner or somebody else, so you just want to take a vacation, invest in your vacation. We got one more thing. Very important, most important part of the show, really, I consider the most important part of the show. We're going to play friend or frenemy. So it's time to find out. If Lydia Kathryn is my friend or if she is my frenemy. Hold on, I've got to get the right sound effects queued up here. I just want to make sure that we're covered either way. I have a feeling, because I'm just meeting a lot of frenemies lately. Lydia Kathryn, without further ado,
lay it on me.
Do you like pineapple on pizza? Oh,
it's so gross.
Finally.
Who puts fruit on pizza?
That's what I'm saying. You gonna put apples on it next? Maybe a lemon or something? I don't know. What the? Come on, people. Weirdos. Please.
I don't get it. And, I'm not a huge fan of pineapple to begin with. And pineapple on pizza is just, it's too much.
Too much. Yeah.
I think everyone's lying, to be honest. I think they're just trying to fit in.
I think they are. I bet they are. I think you're the first guest. You're the first guest since we started Friend or Frenemy that is a resounding no. We've had some waffling, but you're the first one. Thank God you're my favorite guest so far, Lydia. Good job. I have you on every episode.
This has been an active conversation with my friends for like the past 15 years, like pineapple on pizza, and they love it. And I'm just like, I don't see it. I don't see the why. Why don't I have pineapple for breakfast? Why are we putting it on? Put meat on pizza. Put the meat on there.
Yeah. Put some vegetables. That's fine, but don't put some fruit on it, you weirdos. I agree completely, 100%. I don't understand. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you for. I feel so good about this.
Right?
Validation. That's right. Validation. And I actually really like pineapple. I'm great with pineapple myself, but putting it on pizza, I just don't understand. Lydia, thank you so much. Please go check out her Facebook group. I'm in the group, right? I'm in the group. I'm in your group. Am I in that group?
I think I see your picture in there.
Yep. I see a lot of really good, valuable content in there. Go check it out and reach out to her, lydiakathryn.com, and find her on social media. Just want to remind one more time, invest in roll the dice, spend your money, explore more of your inside, what's inside you, and invest in your goals. Everyone, please give it up for my friend and not frenemy. That's right, friend, Lydia Kathryn, everybody.
Thank you, Jim. Absolute
Thank
pleasure.
You, Lydia.
I hope your audience got some valuable insight from this.
Me too. All right. Take care. Be well.
All right.
Be
Bye-bye.
awesome. shoot. Uh-oh.
That went by fast. You gotta talk for like hours.
Yeah, once.
Would you like to live a more awesome life? Join hypnotist Jim Kellner as he explores tips, tricks, and strategies to help you and he live a more awesome life right now on Exploring Awesome.